the nuts!
Welcome back, hyenas, and oh no, my YouTube dads are fighting. I'm gonna go hide in a corner. Relax, my dear YouTube viewer. It's just a little bit of YouTube clickbait. Get used to it. It's gonna get worse as time goes on, and we'll talk about exactly what I mean in just a second here. So last night I made a video talking about my distaste in a new feature that YouTube has introduced called Jump Ahead that allows you to skip the introductions and specifically the integrated sponsored ad reads on YouTube, and the fact that I felt like there was such a disconnect between my understanding in feeling like everybody sort of understood that sponsors are a big part of what keeps YouTubers going, and realizing that a huge majority or vocal majority, a larger number of people than I anticipated, actually have an incredibly strong distaste for sponsors in all of their forms, and there's been quite a bit of conversation in the comments of that video since. I want to take a moment to just clarify some of the points that I made and respond to some of the bigger conversation points that people have had without basically making the exact same video a second time. So first of all, a big thank you to all of the nice messages and the comments that I received from you guys showing your support and letting me know just for how many years you have been watching and enjoying my content and continuing to enjoy my content. The number of super chats and the number of new members on the Patreon in a gesture to show how much you want to support my channel and my career is incredibly heartwarming, and I cannot thank you guys enough, not just for the support on that video, but just for putting me in the place that I'm in currently. Overall, it's super cool. The one big clarification that I want to make in the video that I made last night is I made it seem as though I felt like YouTube introducing this skip ahead feature to jump through introductions and sponsored ad reads in videos has directly led to less sponsors on YouTube. And obviously that's not the case. This is a multifaceted entire creator ecosystem that's got 1,000 different changes, all of which take months or years to sort of come to the point where they actually result in something different happening. Those just happen to be the two major talking points that I had in that video, and I very much made it seem as though that feature was the reason that YouTubers like me are being paid less, and it's much more complicated than that. But I also want to push back just a teeny bit on the notion that it has nothing to do with sponsors leaving the platform in a little bit. There is a big difference, in my opinion, between people just skipping through sponsors, which is just sort of like an accepted, known thing. Like, as sponsors spend money on ad reads, like, they know people are going to skip through them. They know not everybody is going to buy something, that a lot of people are just going to fast forward through it, just like people who make advertisements on TV know you're probably going to get up and go to the bathroom. Like, they're not under the impression that 100% of the people will watch it just because they pay for that ad to be there. But with YouTube introducing a first party button to just instantly skip ahead of them, now they can be like, hey, there's a huge number of people or some number of people that are just straight up not going to watch these ad reads. And if that's the case, well, then obviously sponsors are going to be like, well, we're not going to pay for 100,000 views if 50,000 of them aren't even going to see the ad. Surely that's going to make a difference in how much money they decide to pay a YouTuber to put in said ad if this becomes even more normalized than it is currently. Probably not something that's happened right now directly resulting in anything right now, but we'd be a teeny bit silly to say it's going to have no impact whatsoever, right? The second thing that I want to touch on is something that I have been reading and have gotten feedback on and have seen on the internet, and I'm sure you have as well if you know who I am, is the comments that you see here under that video that are basically all, I never skip an Internet Historian ad. I wouldn't skip ads if they weren't all the exact same thing. I wish they were all like Internet Historian. I've never skipped an Internet Historian ad. I would absolutely watch ad reads if they're amusing, like Internet Historian. I don't skip most sponsored ad reads, blah, 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 but I wish they were more interesting, like Internet Historian. It depends on the ad read. I've never skipped an Internet Historian ad. I honestly do skip most sponsored segments. I don't skip Internet Comment Edit, Internet Historian, over and over again, and not just recently in this comment section, but I'm sure you guys have seen this. Internet Historian, obviously somebody I'm closely tied with, having done 50 million views on the videos we've made together and have been in his ad reads, is very much considered the gold standard Pablo Picasso end goal, what every single YouTuber should strive to be when it comes to doing ad segments. They're entertaining, they're funny, they're fun to watch all the way through. Why can't every YouTuber make ad reads like Internet Historian? Then maybe we wouldn't be so vocal about how much we hate sponsored ad reads if they were all that entertaining. I have some thoughts on this. The first thing that I want to point to is, do you guys remember in the video I made last night where I talked about how much sponsors pay for an ad read in a video? Now, I don't know anything about how much Internet Historian gets paid. I don't know how much any other YouTuber gets paid other than a few of my close friends and what have you. But industry standard, something you can Google, something you can look up as a widely available index guide for new YouTubers looking to price themselves, is something between $2,000 and $3,000 from a sponsor if your video reaches 100,000 views on average. Generally speaking, once you start getting 100,000 views on average, that's when you'll start getting sponsors that aren't just straight up scams or trying to send you free product. And realistically, they should offer you somewhere between $1,500, $3,000, let's say $2,000 for 100,000 views. I don't think anybody's going to disagree with that number. Can you extrapolate if a YouTuber were to get 200,000 views on average, what they could expect a sponsor to spend? If a sponsor is going to spend 10 different ad reads paying $2,000 for 100,000 views, surely they would spend twice as much on twice as many views, right? How much do you think a sponsor would pay for, I don't know, 1 million views? 10 times that number, they would probably pay 10 times as much, right? Looking at Internet Historian's channel, let's ignore these last 3 uploads because the Fancy series is basically a second channel video that he's putting on main, and the Man in Hole video is a re-uploaded video. If you take a look at every single video he's made that is a proper internet history video essay as you've come to expect, what do you think a sponsor would pay for a channel that averages 10 million views a video? And not only 10 million views a video, but is basically guaranteed to be the #1 or top 5 trending video on YouTube for that entire week. And not only the #1 or #5 top trending video that entire week on the front page of YouTube, but also reacted to by every major Twitch streamer for that entire week. Think about that kind of exposure. What kind of money do you think NordVPN or whomever would pay for that kind of viewership? Is that number in your head? Now, please also consider that Internet Historian is not one fat Indian guy putting together these videos by himself. He already has a team of editors, producers, scriptwriters, or whomever. Again, I don't know any of this for sure. I'm just trying to work with information that you probably accept as colloquially, collectively known knowledge, right? You know he's got at least a few editors. If you already have somebody who is helping you put together these animations for these giant projects, is it particularly difficult to take one member of that team and say, hey, put together a really solid, funny, animated piece of sponsored ad segment for this video? We upload at best twice a year, so you only have 6 months to put together a 2 or 3 minute entertaining video that is animated in a style that you do professionally every day because you already work on this exact same style of video with the main channels. Your budget is fucking unlimited. Is it any surprise that Internet Historian's ad reads are pretty goddamn good? I have been in an Internet Historian ad read. I have seen the editing timelines for specifically the Blackbeard video that I was in, and it is mind-boggling, actually mind-boggling, the amount of work, attention to detail, and effort that goes into just a few seconds, let alone the 20 or 30 minutes that these videos generally span. I am not surprised at all that people hold his ad reads and his videos to such a high regard. But does it not feel just the teeniest bit silly to take a look at me or anybody else on YouTube and go, hey man, maybe if your ad reads were as good as the fucking Pablo Picasso of ad reads on YouTube, then maybe I wouldn't skip over them. If only they were the best fucking ad reads I have ever seen in my fucking life, then maybe I would take the time to watch them. Why can't you just do that, Sumito? But hey, at least when you put in that kind of effort, people absolutely rave about how great your ad read is, and it makes sense for you to put in that kind of work. In front of you, what you see here is my audience retention for a video that has an ad read in it. This is how many people are skipping ahead or rewinding or clicking off of your video. The spikes that you see in this retention curve over the span of this 14-minute video are places where people rewinded. The dips that you see in this video are places where people fast forwarded or clicked off of the video. It seems pretty obvious where there was an ad read in this video, right? This 1-minute segment here, where everybody's retention dipped down by the better part of, let's say, 15-20%, is very clearly where 15 to 20% of you guys skipped ahead in the video. Now, the first time that I did an ad read, I reached out to Internet Historian, my gigantic YouTuber friend, who has helped me in so many ways behind the scenes that you will never hear about. He has been a godsend in my career. And I went, hey man, I see this massive dip when I did my ad read. I don't know if this is normal or if I did something wrong. Would you mind if I took a look at your retention graph for one of your videos where you did an ad read, so that I could see the difference between you and I, given that you are so highly regarded as the king of doing the best ad reads on the internet? And now, my dear hyena, please tell me what you think I saw. In a perfect world, the retention graph would look like this. It would follow this red line. It would be the same amount of people just watching all the way through, and that meant nobody skipped the ad. But this is Internet Historian. Surely we would see something like this. We would see a spike like we do over here and over here, because nobody skips an Internet Historian ad. Fuck, I only watch Internet Historian videos to see the ad segments. I watch them in my fucking sleep. What do you think I saw, guys? Exactly the same. The exact same 20 or whatever % of people skipping through that ad read as they were watching the video. It might have been a teeny bit less flat than mine, because some people do genuinely go back and watch it. But the reality is that the people who are watching an ad read because it's entertaining, rather than autopilot skipping it because they know it's a commercial, are a little bit of a vocal minority. The number of people who do that because they feel like they're supporting the creator are also very much the type of people that will type out a comment to share their opinion that, hey, I do this thing. But the reality is that even with how many comments there are about people saying that they don't skip Internet Historian ad reads or they love the way he does his sponsored segments, it doesn't actually seem to make that big of a difference. Sumito, obviously it isn't that simple. When I search up Internet Historian Nordman, I see multiple other YouTube channels making compilations of the cinematic universe that he has put together. These ad reads are so good that these videos that are uploaded get hundreds of thousands of views for a sponsored ad segment. I mean, nobody does that with your fat self in front of a green screen, putting on costumes and doing your best. Surely it's still better. It absolutely is better. It's way better than anything that I could do. It's way better than anything that I've done. I'm just saying to set your expectations a little bit. To take a look at a YouTube channel that's got 100,000 subs like mine, where there's one guy, no editor, no producer, no scriptwriter, nobody other than myself, who has to both be on camera and edit the thing and come up with the thing, who's uploading twice a week versus twice a year, yeah, the quality of the ad reads are going to vary just a tiny bit. I feel like it's a teeny bit unfair to make that one-to-one comparison of, if they were all this good, then of course I wouldn't be skipping them, which isn't even really true at the end of the day, right? The other comment that I got quite a few times is, hey, nobody even buys YouTube sponsors. Everybody knows that anybody who is spending money to be sponsored in a YouTube ad read is either a scam or low quality, not something that you should be spending your money on. Everybody knows the situation with established titles and BetterHelp. Like, I have just written off all YouTube sponsors whatsoever, so who cares if I skip them? Sponsors aren't dumb. Like, they do pay tons of money in order to have their ad reads in YouTubers' videos. but they're a marketing situation. They make that money back. As much money as has been dumped into YouTube, at least some amount of that has been returned in either product evaluation and purchases or brand awareness. You might not ever have bought something from BetterHelp, but you know what BetterHelp is now, right? And a lot of the times when a company is trying to get more sales, all they need is brand recognition or people to be like, oh yeah, I've heard of them, to take them out of, oh, what's that? I wouldn't buy that. I've never heard of it. And that job is done. When I take a look at something like Into the AM, I can see the purchases that you guys make. I can see that there are tens of thousands of dollars in purchases for that one sponsor. It's fair to say that you, as an individual, have never purchased something on YouTube, but to say that that equates into everybody should be allowed to skip sponsors, clearly some people do spend money on those things, either enjoy it or have been talked into it because they want to support their YouTuber. That's where this marketing budget comes from. These sponsors wouldn't throw money at YouTubers for nothing. You know that. It's fine to say that you haven't spent any money on anything that a YouTuber has tried to sell you, but some people have. And the people who do spend that money to either purchase the thing or to support their creator gives money to that brand that ends up giving money to that YouTuber and basically subsidizes your ability to watch their videos without any money being dumped into them, to make it more difficult or to be in favor of making it more difficult for that YouTuber to receive that sponsor check for something you weren't going to buy anyway. Kind of just ends up biting you in the ass if that YouTuber can't make those videos anymore, which is an extreme take. I keep saying that as if a sponsor disappears one day, half of YouTube would stop making videos. But like, you know, you allow ID verification for one porn site, and now suddenly you need to prove you're over 18 to use YouTube. It's a snowball. A quick Google search says that the sponsor economy on YouTube is something like $33 billion a year. That is sponsors spending ad revenue money on sponsored segments on YouTube, which is a massive industry and probably wrong because it's an AI generated accumulation of a bunch of articles that I didn't take the time to read. But you know that sponsors spend quite a bit of money overall, like every sponsor ever, in terms of how much they spend on getting YouTubers to talk about their stuff. If YouTube makes it slightly more difficult for them to do one 90-second ad read that you can skip ahead, do you think they're just going to disappear? Do you not think that a sponsor is going to go, hey, this isn't being as effective. Instead of doing one 90-second ad read, we'd like you to talk for 10 seconds at the beginning of your video introducing the brand, and then do a 30-second ad read in the middle covering all the data points, and then another 30 seconds near the end of your video telling people to go and buy our thing with our discount link so that people can't skip it as easily. It's a cat chasing a mouse, and the mouse has a rocket. The last point I want to touch on is the comments that were like, listen, I pay for YouTube Red / YouTube Premium. And for the record, I have also done that for 10 plus years. I have never seen a YouTube Google ad while watching YouTube. I pay for ad-free YouTube. If I'm paying YouTube this $15 a month, and part of that goes to you for me to not see ads, why do I still need to watch you do a sponsored segment? I paid to not see this. This is not something I have a direct response to. I do think there's some validity there, but I do think there's also a little bit of misunderstanding. When you're paying for YouTube Premium, you are paying for YouTube not to run ads on your video. That is for a lot of YouTubers, let's say YouTubers with no sponsors. That is 100% of their income. Maybe 80% if they have a sizable Patreon community that's making up for it, but it's a huge chunk of money for YouTubers. If YouTube just took your $15 a month, ran no ads whatsoever, you guys saw that split that I had in my last video. That would be like a 30% pay cut for every YouTuber. They would just straight up not see that chunk of money from YouTube ads from people watching their videos because they paid for premium. YouTube isn't giving YouTubers a cut of that to make up for the fact that they're not going to see sponsors. They're giving YouTubers a cut of that because YouTubers would fucking riot if they took that much. That is the equivalent of the Admageddon that we had back when Logan Paul killed a guy in a forest. That's being done directly by YouTube. Like, that's not a handshake agreement between the three of us that you don't get any ads on your side. It's just the thing YouTube had to do to introduce an ad-free viewing experience on their end. Let's be fair here. This was a marketing decision to make YouTube money not a three-way handshake to make your viewing experience perfect on the platform, as nice as that would be. Just to put that into perspective so that everybody understands, I did put a little bit of a split of how much I get paid from people who have YouTube Premium versus people who do not, just to show that it's about 30% of any random month for that particular month. But I didn't show you how many YouTube Premium people watched versus people who didn't. So here's that number. There were a little over 200,000 views in this random month, of which 67,000 of those views were premium views. Those premium views specifically brought in $182. Those not premium ad watching views added up to about $591. As you can see, you make more money from people who watch the ads, right? So that means that if you pay for YouTube Premium, even though you can say that a portion of that is going to the creator, which we've already established is just something YouTube had to do, they make less money than the people who are watching ads. Now, I don't think this is as simple as YouTube Premium sucks or they're taking money from creators. I believe the ad situation as an ad-free user or as somebody who watches ads on YouTube sucks. The ads are intrusive. There's way too many of them. I hate the fact that you can't skip them. That's why I pay for premium, is to not have to watch those ads, because it would straight up ruin my ability to watch YouTube otherwise. But I just want to point to, it's not as simple as being like, yeah, and they give a portion of it to creators, so it's perfectly ethical, right? It's a teeny bit worse. So what's the solution, Sumito? You've done a bunch of bitching and yelling at me about how I'm leeching your paycheck by watching your videos. What the fuck is the answer to all of this? I don't know. This isn't really even supposed to be sort of like a problem that I have the all-knowing solution to. I just hope to be able to provide a little bit of more nuance and behind-the-scenes information that the vast majority of people who have never tried to make a career out of YouTube might be lacking when they take a look at this complicated ecosystem of which they interact with every single day. At the end of the day, what are you going to do? Sit through every ad, buy every sponsor, and watch every video 4 times over to make sure YouTubers make money? Of course you're not. What am I gonna do? Stop making the videos that I love fucking making in order to be able to continue interacting and having conversations with you guys? Fuck no, I'm not. It's just a system that we gotta work with, but having conversations like this and being transparent about all the inner workings of these things can help to shed a little bit of light on this all-knowing algorithm that, if it fucks up, is kind of up to us as like the community and content creators to hold accountable. And in order to do that, we need to be properly informed as to what these things are actually doing, changing, affecting as far as YouTube as a whole is concerned. And I hope this has been not too bitchy and preachy and hopefully comes off as me trying to share this information that I feel like people might be lacking when they join this conversation. It's probably coming off as preachy and bitchy. I apologize. Small solution that I've been muddling around in my head since I made the video last night. Make it so that the sponsor skip button works after the video has been live for 1 month. Most sponsors only track metrics for the first 30 days. They only require you to have the video up for 30 days. They only pay you for the sales that you make in the first 30 days. Make it so that you can skip those sponsored segments after 30 days. That way, anybody who's watching your entire backlog of catalogs can ethically skip through all those sponsored segments and not worry about it. And any of the videos that are fresh and uploaded in the last 4 weeks can get the exposure that those sponsors pay for, and you don't completely kill the industry and still maintain the ability to be able to skip through those sponsors on the vast catalog of YouTube videos. And it's only the first 30 days that you got to worry about. Last thing I want to touch on, and I don't want to make it seem as if I'm responding to hate comments, but like anybody who is making a comment that is along the lines of do or die, I'm never paying for anything on YouTube. YouTubers shouldn't expect to make $1 of money from YouTube. Either do it for fun or get the fuck off the platform, something like that. I don't understand. And again, I watch 6 hours of YouTube a day. I promise I watch more videos than you do in any given day in the last 20 years that I've been watching YouTube. I am as much of a viewer as any of you guys, and I cannot relate to the sentiment of, if you can't make good enough videos, get off the platform. It's an ever-changing thing. Somebody will take your place. When Casey Neistat stopped making daily vlogs in New York, did we suddenly have a bunch of other vloggers come up making equally good content because he decided to quit? When Jenna Marbles disappeared, did we get another Jenna Marbles? When Ryan Higa stopped making videos, did we get another South Asian representation in skit comedy on YouTube? Don't be so quick to be like, just get off the platform. you may very well get what you ask for. The people who are succeeding on YouTube for the most part without any sort of attention given to these sorts of smaller things are the people who are playing the algorithm to its best. Every YouTube channel is going to end up as a Mark Rober or a Mr. Beast or a Cocomelon or something. You're not going to get the fun speedrunners doing challenge runs in Pokemon or video essays about Silent Hill 2 or the gardening videos that are in your thing if it's just as simple as, sorry, you didn't get 100,000 views in your first 100 videos, time to go get a job. This website was built on those guys. We remember this, right? Sorry, last point, and I promise I'll shut up. I also got a ton of comments that were like, I go out of my way to watch sponsors. I go out of my way to watch ads, so I'm not part of the problem. And I think I might have misrepresented this as I want more people to watch sponsors. I want more people to watch ads. I'm not necessarily saying that. I'm saying if we're going to correct in the direction of making it way harder to integrate a sponsor or an ad read, you're not going to be able to compensate for that by just watching them if you weren't going to buy it anyway, right? If you're somebody who will legitimately buy a product that a YouTuber is serving to you, you are, and I don't know if subsidizing is the right way, but you are paying money in a way that like 100 other people won't. And you're kind of making up for that because you're spending actual money versus just watching an ad. The 100 people that are watching the video for free, I argue, might not be the best thing to make vocal, hey, let's make it harder for that one person to buy the thing, right? If that one person was going to buy it anyway or could purchase it, let them spend the money, drive the sales, sponsor the YouTuber, make the video so that the other 100 guys can continue to watch for free. Why are you making this part harder for these guys? I don't understand it. Anyway, I'm excited to see all the bad faith interpretations of everything that I said down in the comments. I'm excited to see your guys' end of everything that you think about this. Thank you so much for watching this video to the end. We have a lot of news about new ID verification on YouTube and even Spotify and stuff. I will cover that in a video tomorrow. Remember to subscribe so that you don't miss it. A like on the video helps out a ton. I forgot to shout out my Patreon last time, but if you'd like to support me directly, there is a Patreon that's got a bunch of bonus videos as well as like dozens of memes and artwork and even a little online course on how to become a YouTuber yourself, buy your first computer, buy your first microphone and camera and everything with no affiliate links or sponsors or anything. Your $5 a month covers all of that and supports me directly. I thank you for it in advance and I will catch you guys tomorrow. Spisu.